Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Hello, Bridget. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Triple J. You know, I was realizing that I was in the chat early today, and I was saying hi to people, and I thought I should just go live, probably, right?
Yeah, probably.
Are we live now? I think we are.
I think so. We're just
testing everything. Everything's plugged in, right? I feel like it's.
I don't know. It says we're still waiting for you.
Oh, really? Because I'm on. It says live. I've been live for a while here, so I don't really know. But maybe now. Maybe now it's live. Oh, maybe now we're live. Were we not live before?
We weren't live before.
You don't think we were live before?
No.
Wow. Interesting. Well, I'll just say hello again and happy Saturday. Hello, Triple J. Hello, Bridget. Hello, Andrew. And everyone that's here. Isn't that funny? We weren't live before. I was talking for a whole 10 minutes. Wasn't I talking? I was busy talking for 10 minutes. Nobody heard me.
It was not 10 minutes.
What was I even saying? I don't know. What were we talking about?
We just got here.
Okay. The monkey is here. Hello. Happy Saturday, everyone. No, I forgot what I was saying. Corey is here. Wilkie's Movies and Music. Hello. See, everyone missed that. I feel like everyone missed that, and I forget what I was even saying now.
Well, I think you were testing.
Oh, I know what I was saying. I was saying hello to everyone in the chat, and then I thought I should probably just go live. I don't know why I'm chatting with everybody.
But I feel like last week you said something about like
I could say hi, but
you felt like you hadn't clicked the button yet, and it was already live.
I was already live because I think when I hover over the button, I think it just goes live with StreamYard. I'm not really sure.
I don't think it did it because this week
it didn't do it today.
It didn't do it,
even though I was live on my own, but nothing was happening. Mike D is here. Hello, Mike D's Collection. It's a Saturday once again, and what a beautiful Saturday it is too. Even though it's getting a little bit cooler here, I was realizing. Oh, we were just talking about this too. The monkey was saying, "Would you clarify Home Alone is a holiday survival film?" We were just talking. We had so much discussion about this topic today. First of all, we're going to talk about survival films today and a bunch of other things, which is a request from last week. And if you have a specific topic you want us to talk about next week, let us know in the chat today, or if you're watching this on replay, you can do that. I wanted to mention one other thing too. If you have a question that you don't ask in the chat today, or you want to ask later, leave it in the comments of this video, and I'll answer that next week. And I had a couple of questions to answer today too. We had so much discussion about what does it mean to be a survival film. Last week we were talking about some kind of perilous thing that happens. Hello, Skelder. Some kind of thing that's happened where a character is in peril or something like that. But you could get into, and we have a couple of these today. You could get into zombie films, right? All these zombie films. Mike said, I think it would qualify as a survival film. I think I'm going to agree with that. In fact, we were thinking about we were just talking about this. What holiday film would be a survival film? And I think of any holiday film, it would be that. Most of the holiday films are not survival films, but that is one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is because he is left all by himself, and he's never had to, go grocery shopping and cook for himself. And he's never lived by himself. So yeah, he has to survive being left at home.
So I think that is the survival film for the holidays.
Yeah.
Maybe Die Hard. Would Die Hard be a survival? We didn't even pull these films, but because we were talking about it before. But
I mean, yeah, it could.
Isn't that a survival type film? But it's kind of like an adventure film too, so it's hard to really say. But
yeah,
these categories really can go all over the place. We were also thinking you could get into a film like Alien. Is Alien a survival film? The 1979 film from Ridley Scott,
or like Jumanji. We were talking about.
Is Jumanji a survival film? So I think we got a little hung up on the categories here, but we did pull some movies and some other things that we can talk about, and certainly want to hear your suggestions too. And let us know how you're doing too on a Saturday. I mean, it's like I said, it's really beautiful here. I've started to do these weekly vlogs on the channel too, so let me know if you like those. We're just putting together some things. Castaway. Well, Castaway. Okay, let's see now. This is going to get into some of our. I'll try not to blow out the microphone here too much. Here's Castaway. That's a great one. We got this. I think we got this one at Target, right? This Target slipcover, which is nice. This is a Blu-ray. Is this Target?
Do we have several copies of
Castaway? I think you have a copy of Castaway. This is the Target one, the Target exclusive one that we got.
Oh, is it?
Years ago.
I thought you also gifted me a copy because it had a nice cover.
Modesty Blaze. Modesty Blaze is here. Hello. And Film Fan 78. Hello. Alien is definitely a survival film. I think we're gonna find out this week what would be a survival film and what's not because we were thinking about Alien for a while, but then you get into science fiction and it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Modesty Blaze is here. Hello. Hocus Pocus, is that a survival film?
I mean, they do have to save the town from getting eaten.
I mean, if they have to save the town from being eaten, of course, it should be a survival film. Anyway, here's Castaway. Modesty Blaze said hello to you, by the way.
Hello.
I know you can see the chat. You're sitting right next to me here, but
yeah.
But anyway, Castaway. Mike's great suggestion too. Castaway is a great survival film, which we haven't seen before too. I always remember that scene where
we've seen it. What do you mean we haven't seen it?
Well, we haven't seen it in a while. Is what I mean.
We have seen it in general.
In general, we have seen it. Yeah, you're right.
We haven't watched it in a long time.
Modesty Blaze said, which we didn't. These are great suggestions already, by the way. But Meek's Cutoff, which is the Kelly Reichardt film, which I didn't pull for today, but there's a great release from Oscilloscope. That's one that should be in the Criterion Collection, I think. Also, I just did a video where I talked about films that should be in should be in the Criterion Collection, and that's definitely one of them. Meek's Cutoff. What a great film that is, and that is a survival film.
Can you believe Castaway is 24 years old this year?
Is it really?
Yeah.
From year 2000.
From year 2000.
Yeah. I always remember that one scene from Castaway where he has a problem with his tooth.
Oh my goodness.
And he has to take his tooth out. Because anybody that's ever had any dental issues, you remember, like I had one, where you just remember that you have like a sore tooth. Like, what are you supposed to do with it? And he takes it out with a rock or something, doesn't he?
An ice skate.
Is it an ice skate?
Yeah.
Oh, he finds an ice skate.
Yeah, because he collects the FedEx boxes from the trash and finds all sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great film. Great call on that. And we've got a bunch of these films today too that we're going to talk about. But certainly, if you have others, let us know in the comments here or in the chat. I always say comments, but it's really the chat, right? Survival films. I think we looked at a bunch of films that we didn't even pull today because we weren't sure if they were survival films. We weren't sure about what does it mean to be in peril specifically, right? Because a lot of characters are in peril, even in a drama film.
Yeah.
People could be in peril.
I feel like we started like the true like survival film like Castaway where someone is stranded in a physical sense.
Like 127 hours was one that we don't have.
Yeah, like he's on an island. The plane crashed and he's on an island.
He's on an
right?
island.
That's your typical like survival
So he's
film.
in peril. Yeah.
But then like Home Alone is like, well, but he is alone on his own and he has to survive. It's just packaged differently than a man on an island.
Right. But and in both films, right, Home Alone, they get out of it, right? Home Alone, he gets through it, and Castaway gets through it.
Yeah.
But
they don't always survive the survival film.
Not always. Not always.
We talked about like Titanic. We don't have Titanic, but that like turns into a survival film, right?
Is Titanic though a fictional account of what happened to the Titanic? Because there wasn't actually that like Leonardo DiCaprio. I think
it's like an amalgam of stories that people share. Yeah. Is Titanic a? I don't think who was it? Kate Winslet. I don't think like her actual character was an actual. Like, I don't think it's her true story.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I'm not sure, but isn't there that whole debate about there was room definitely on that piece of wood for Leonardo DiCaprio? A door. Yeah. Was it a door? It was a door. I'm glad you remember all these details because I thought it was a piece of wood. Well, it's a door is a piece of wood. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, like people, I feel like we've seen like TikToks where people have done the math and like the physics to see like if you could have. I think he could have fit on that. I don't on think the door. It was just. But that seemed like a big door, didn't it? Because it was kind of. I think the problem is that like when you add, like when you have like a raft in a pool and you put too much weight on it, it starts to sink. Like it doesn't like so that we're trying to avoid like the frigid water. Yeah. And not just both float on a door in the ocean. It looked like a very big door, though, didn't it? It did, yeah. It's not like your average door. That's like one of those very large doors. It was, it was like some like industrial door situation. Yeah. The monkey said, A Beautiful Mind, also, which I have. That's is the worst survival film since it's an internal struggle. See, that's the other thing too. You could think of it as a character having an internal struggle,
that
right?
makes me think of the film Safe. Is that the one?
Is that the one with Patrick Stewart?
Mm.
Or no, that's the one with Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore, and she's like feels she's being poisoned by the environment, and like chemicals and things like that.
But again, you could get into a whole thing. Is she in peril? I guess as a character, she feels like she's in peril, right?
Yeah. That's a
great film too. Modesty Blaze said Walter Hill's Southern Comfort, which I think just got a 4K, if I'm not mistaken. Love that film. That is scared the life out of me first time I saw it. I haven't seen that film in a long time, but I remember it being on TV when I was a kid. And that's a film that I don't have. But, that's the other thing too we were talking about. Does a war film, is a war film, a survival film? I suppose it is, right? That's the thing. We didn't want to pull too many war films today either, because we weren't sure if because that's a whole genre in itself, just like science fiction or.
But there are a lot of war films where they get like trapped somewhere, right?
Here's a good one, Nomadland. They could call that a survival film too, right? She's living in a van and she's right. Nomadland. Remember that's the
Yeah, I mean, I think it fits in that like internal struggle survival situation.
True. Liam Neeson, The Gray. We talked about Liam. Is that true? Liam Neeson's going to be in the Naked Gun
I have no
revival.
Maybe. I mean, that's
we saw a lot of press on that. I can't imagine that, but yeah, we talked about this last week a little bit, Mike, too, about whether disaster films qualify as survival film. I suppose they do. I suppose they do. I really
qualify, but I think we were like, well, we could do a whole live stream about disaster films.
We could talk about, because I was thinking as I was getting ready today.
So I guess Titanic would be like a disaster.
But I was thinking like Twister also, right? Twister would be a survival film, right?
Like 2012.
So maybe that's another topic. What does everyone think in the chat? Should that be another topic, do you think, or? Because I feel like that's a whole other area of because I have the whole airport collection and I've got other films. Frances McDormand also is a great movie. That's a great movie. Armada mentioned a movie called Crawl, which is the alligator movie. So I guess a lot of these would be you could call them. I mean, there's so many films that could be classified as a survival. This is always a strange issue too, because a lot of people would say, like, I'm just using this as an example, but let's say Alien is a science fiction movie, but it's also an adventure film, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then also, like, wouldn't like Halloween be a survival film because she's being stalked, right?
Every film is a survival film. That's what we're learning today. Every film is a survival film.
Yeah.
If there's enough drama in it, I suppose, The monkey said, there's a film that hasn't come out yet, Josh Hartnett and Trap, which I haven't heard of that one. As we go along here too, if there's any questions too, feel free to ask a question or we can talk about other things too. We don't have to talk about survival films.
Okay.
Also,
Trap is a film coming out in August. It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. And a man and his teenage daughter realize that they're at the center of a dark and sinister event while watching a concert. The trailer is out, so
could that be because a lot of horror films could be?
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah,
a lot of horror film, because if you think about that, Southern Comfort is like Alien. They're being hunted, but only blank ammunition. That's interesting.
So is that one of those like rich people hire people to hunt them on an island?
Well, it's an older film. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that movie in a while, but Wizard of Oz. I mean, I guess if you look at it as a category, Wizard of Oz could qualify, since Dorothy has to survive Oz to go home. But again, that's you know what I mean? I mean that's true. They have to survive.
I mean, she's got to survive the Wicked Witch, right?
Yeah. I guess the topic today then is, what is not a survival film?
That's true. So I guess Southern Comfort, that film from '81.
Southern Comfort, yeah,
is on it's on Tubi right now, and it's a Vietnam War film.
I've seen it.
Trapped in Louisiana, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen that years ago, but
Interesting. Okay.
So I guess we would have to say what film, as we go forward here, what film would not be a survival film that because we've talked about so many already that kind of cross the genres, right?
Yeah.
Science fiction films, drama films, comedy. Home Alone is a comedy too, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, because I guess anytime it's life or death means you have to survive, right?
Right, but could that be also that could be in your mind too, as someone pointed out, right? That could be something, your own internal struggle, but you survived, right?
True.
So, Triple J said too, I'm glad, and again, feel free to mention any of these too. Amadeus has a 4K presentation last week, and the producer's nephew said a 4K release will be coming this fall. I think it's been a while since Amadeus has gotten any upgrades, which would be great to see. Let's see. I pulled this film today too. I think this is a survival film as well. Ice Station Zebra. Because I was reading in the back and it actually had the word peril in here too. The tigerfish turns towards the North Pole. Its mission is to rescue the imperiled members of the weather outpost, Ice Station Zebra.
Yeah.
But this is a great film. That there's a lot of love for this one in particular. But I really like this movie too. It's a very John Sturges, of course.
Well, is that the one they're in the sub?
They're in the submarine, and a little bit of a mystery here too. But they basically go on a rescue mission. But is this a rescue film?
It's still perilous because they're literally in a submarine.
It says imperiled. I think if it said imperiled, it says imperiled here on the back. So I thought, if it uses the word peril,
last week we were like, if we could find heist on the back.
If we can find heist on the back, then it's a heist film, right? But that's right. The monkey said, I have an alternative theory of Wizard of Oz. Toto was taken away by the sheriff, and Oz is her going insane from the trauma of losing Toto. That's an interesting take on that. Life of Pi also could be a survival. I haven't seen Life of Pi, but that sounds really good too. A lot of great suggestions.
So it's not a survival film. Life of Pi is not a survival film once you get to the end.
Oh, interesting. So you think it's a survival film, but then you get to the end?
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, isn't that the one about like the boy and the tiger in the boat?
Yeah, I think Andrew, I don't know if Andrew is still here, but I think Andrew mentioned this one early on, and so I thought I would show it. The Flight of the Phoenix, right? This is a great Criterion release also. Jaws 2, more than one, the kids are stranded. That's true. Modesty Blaze said that Jaws 2 is a good survival film because the kids are stranded in that one.
Yeah.
But it's also the first one is a survival film because the original 3
are stranded
on the boat.
Yeah.
Well, it's sinking. But this one, Flight of the Phoenix, which is great with Jimmy Stewart and Richard Attenborough, Peter Finch, Harry Kruger, Ernest Borgnine. This one's kind of cool too because it has this little plane in the inside of it. If you have the Criterion release, it's got this little plane that I haven't put together. But Flight of the Phoenix, and of course the remake. There's a remake of that.
Yeah, the remake's pretty good.
You like the remake?
Well, Hugh Laurie was in it, so.
Oh, so of course we like the remake. Did he play the Jimmy Stewart role? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What does everyone think? Flight of the Phoenix. I guess we could vote on these, whether we think these are survival films or not. We don't know. And also, as we go through today, if you have a topic for next week, too, let us know, and we'll do that.
No, I guess Dennis Quaid is the captain in that one.
Dennis, is he?
Yeah, he is.
And Hugh Laurie, what is the?
He's a character named Ian. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, let me see. Who played Ian in the 60s?
Stranded in Paradise, about thieves who rob everyone, then have to stay in the town with who they robbed. Okay, interesting. But this is a great movie from 1965, spy number 1116, Flight of the Phoenix. Here's that one.
It's hard to tell. They changed all the character names when they readapted it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Also, you mentioned this one, too, which is this great Arrow release, which is another sci-fi. This could be almost like Alien, this one, Silent Running. Bruce Dern. Modesty Blaze said, my husband is nodding at his head at Flight of the Phoenix. I've not seen it.
Because they're like in the desert.
They're in the desert, yeah. And they have to get the plane working again.
It says disaster epic.
Yeah, so it's a disaster film, but it's also
one of the all-time great survival movies.
Oh, okay. So it has survival in there. Yeah. Also, Silent Running, right? Which I think you mentioned, which we've seen, which Bruce Dern is left on a spaceship,
with,
but it's
with three robots,
very cute robots, robot helpers. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. In the not so distant future, Earth is barren of all flora and fauna, with what remains of the planet's former ecosystems preserved aboard a fleet of greenhouses orbiting in space. When the crews are ordered to destroy the remaining specimens, one botanist, Freeman Lowell, Bruce Dern, was in The Burbs, right? He was really good in The Burbs.
He's great.
Rebels and flees towards Saturn in a desperate bid to preserve his own little piece of Earth that was accompanied only by the ship's 3 service robots.
They're so cute.
They are cute.
Yeah, The Burbs is really good.
The Burbs is good, yeah. So anyway, I think this one would qualify, again, science fiction related, but also survival film. I love this Arrow release too. It's got a lot of great extra features on it. There's the extra features there too. It's so quiet today.
It is.
Well, is it quiet in the chat today? If anyone has comments or any other suggestions too, let us know. Bruce Dern, always amazing. In The Driver, also very good. Yes.
He's in Nebraska, isn't he?
Nebraska, yeah. Very good. This other one too, I'm just going to go through them here since Gravity, also Gravity with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney, which is a survival film. Also science fiction, right?
Yeah.
Would Interstellar be a survival film?
I don't know.
That's the thing; it's hard to tell, right? Every film now could be a survival. You could have a twist on it that it's a survival type movie. This one, Dr. Ryan Stone is a brilliant engineer and this is the part played by Sandra Bullock, is a brilliant engineer on her first shuttle mission with veteran astronaut Matt Kowalski, George Clooney. On a seemingly routine spacewalk, disaster strikes. Again, disaster movies, right? The shuttle is destroyed, leaving Stone and Kowalski completely alone, tethered to nothing but each other and spiraling out into the darkness. So there's definitely some peril here too. A lot of peril here.
Did we see this one in the theater?
I think we did, and I got a headache.
Oh, because I think we saw it in 3D.
It was in 3D. I got a headache, and so never again 3D. Is everyone still going to the movie theater too? By the way, let us know if you're seeing anything interesting over the summer, or if you're planning to see something interesting over the summer at the theater. As fear turns to panic, every gulp of air eats away at what little oxygen is left. But the only way home may be to go farther out into the terrifying expanse of space. Modesty Blaze, I think Tremors would also be probably a disaster movie.
Yeah.
We tried to watch, speaking of Tremors, not that it just reminds me of Dune, because we started watching Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
We only got like 20 minutes in. We realized we need three dedicated hours to watch that.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like I remember seeing a special feature about Gravity, and that it was a rough film on Sandra Bullock because she had to spend so much time on her own.
Oh yeah.
Like she had to spend like the whole day of shooting like in a tin can by herself.
And yeah.
And it was really isolating, and like she didn't get to see her son, and it was a rough one.
Bridget said, excuse me, been to the cinema today to watch Bad Boys 4. What did you think of that? And by the way, I follow Bridget on Instagram too. A lot of great posts from Bridget on Instagram. The Cherry Bombs podcast said, huge fan of The Edge. We forgot about The Edge, which I have. The Edge is a really great survival film. Yeah, that's a great one. Really good. With Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. Very underrated. Totally agree. I remember seeing that in the theater also.
That's the, I don't want to give it away, but.
What's that? What? We don't have to, that's the one with there was a bear in that one.
Yeah.
Right. The bear is, stalking the two main characters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is definitely a survival. That's a great pick. And we didn't pull that one for today. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, a Disney children survival film. That's true. That's a survival one.
True.
That's very true.
I feel like, isn't that? Oh yeah, there's like one episode of Everybody Loves Raymond where they talk about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and these like one of the side characters is like, yeah, I was watching that the other day and I realized that my dad wouldn't come find me. Because they're so little, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
They're missing.
Yeah.
No, well,
You don't want to step on anybody.
Right.
You gotta be careful.
Stepped on. It's dangerous.
I forgot about there's that movie that I saw as a kid. I think The Incredible Shrinking Man too, where they get shrunk down and then he gets chased by cats and spiders and stuff like that. Yeah.
I remember, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. And then like the baby is like really big.
I haven't seen those movies in a long time. I haven't
seen them in a long time either. But
Skolder said, "Have not been to the theater since Tenet in 2020." That's wow. I thought you and I hadn't been to the theater in a long time. That's a long time not to be at the theater.
Well, we went in last year, 2023.
We did go, yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons and Barbie.
Mike said Disney's Swiss Family Robinson. Also, that's a great one. A lot of Disney disaster movies. I don't know if that's true or not. Super asked. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Really wants to see Inside Out 2. I'm not that excited, but Pixar sequels recently have been trash. I like the we'll watch a lot of trailers too, right? On the usually.
Well, I heard a lot of people are a little disappointed about Inside Out 2 because Bill Hader didn't come back to do the voice.
What was he doing the voice on?
I think he was Fear.
Oh, really?
The purple guy, the nervous.
But don't they introduce anxiety and other
there's
stuff?
Like 3 or 4 other voices, but they were a little bit upset that he didn't come back for the second movie.
Inside Out 2. I would like to see that. Are there any other movies we're planning to see this summer? I don't think we usually wait. I think we want to see The Fall Guy, but that's already on streaming, right? I don't think it did as well as expected.
Our media calendar.
Our media calendar.
Oh,
which is very light.
Planet at the end of the month.
Janet Planet. That's one we're looking forward to. Also, check out the trailer for that one, Janet Planet.
And Joker 2, but that's going to be on.
But Joker 2 is in the fall, right?
It's like the beginning of October, I guess.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the year goes by so quickly for that stuff.
There's probably more. I just didn't put them on the calendar.
I mean, I don't think we'll probably wait because usually there's not enough time for us to go see it. We have to see it right away or it leaves the theater, at least around here, around this area, right?
Sorry, my nerdiness for sure. My media calendar. I have a calendar for the things coming out.
For the stuff we're doing?
Well, no, for like the stuff we want to see.
Oh, the stuff we want to see, yeah. Yeah. The monkey said, sadly, the Resident Evil franchise is a survival film series. There's so many. That's what we're discovering today, I think. Yeah. Every film could be a survival film, a disaster film.
Like every horror film is probably a survival film because something's trying to get you.
Yeah, that's true. Especially Halloween. Mm. When is it time? When can we start watching Halloween films? When can we start watching horror films?
Anytime.
I mean, you can watch them anytime, right?
Well, I feel like this kind of bridges that gap.
Yeah. So if we get into these are 2 films I would say. Oh, Brent is here. Hello, Brent. Open Water 2. I really liked Open Water. I think I may have seen Open Water in the theater, but then you and I saw it together and we've seen it a couple times. Yeah. But there were real sharks in this one too, Open Water. And then Open Water 2, I think Open Water 3 probably is not good. But Open Water 2 I kind of liked, even though they're on a ship. They fall off a ship, but I can imagine how difficult that might be to try to get back on the ship.
One, they're going scuba diving and they get left behind because they don't count well and they miss them. And then in Open Water 2, there are a bunch of friends that go out on a boat and then they all jump off the boat and forget to put the ladder down so nobody can get back in the boat.
That seems like a really weak script.
It's a really easy thing to do.
But I guess it could happen. I mean, and then they're in peril.
Because
immediately it says
the little ladder is tied up with a latch or a rope or something. Typically, when you're on a boat, the ladder's not down all the time, and they just forgot to put it down.
For Open Water 2, I'll just read this. A weekend cruise aboard a luxury yacht goes horribly awry for a group of old high school friends who forget to lower the ladder. I mean, it sounds like it's very before they jump into the ocean for a swim. That seems like you forget to do that. That's a bad situation. The boat proves impossible to climb, which you might imagine. How are you going to climb up that without the ladder, right?
Yeah.
Leaving them adrift miles from shore. Here's where it becomes a survival film. What started out as a joyful reunion becomes a fight for survival.
Oh my goodness.
Survival film right there. All is lost. I'm glad Cherry Bomb's podcast is here too. All is Lost we were thinking of too. What a great film. What a great underrated movie. Society of the Snow also, which is a brutal watch, but a beautiful film. All Is Lost. What a great film that is. Robert Redford. Really a surprise for us. I really like that one. Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention, Brent said, I'd like to see, if it comes here, I'd like to see Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis in theaters. I heard mixed things about that, Brent. Let us know what you think about it, or if you have an opinion about it, because I heard that it was more of a passion. I know it's been a passion project, and I watched some of the interviews with Francis Ford Coppola about how he felt about the film and, you know, people's reactions to it. I didn't see a lot of great reactions to it, although I love Francis Ford Coppola and would love to see that movie.
True. All Is Lost is on Tubi.
All Is Lost is on Tubi. So if you have a free service, you can, if you don't mind some commercials, even though we're watching commercials on Amazon now.
Did you see the Thing versus Alien?
Yeah, I was going to go back to the, of course, we can watch horror all year round. Halloween specifically, we could wait till September. Sometimes we start watching in August, but
yeah, well, because if you want to watch more than just the first Halloween film, we like to start in August, so we don't have to rush.
In August, so we don't have to rush. I think last year that's what we did, and then because before we know it, it's the end of October, and we haven't watched any horror film.
Yeah.
The Thing versus Alien. This is great. This is going to be tough to decide because I love them both so much. But I would say, for me, I would say The Thing is probably.
I was going to say The Thing.
I think The Thing for me is that's a scary film for sure.
I need to see Alien again.
Well, yeah, we haven't watched Alien in a long time, right?
I know. It's probably not actually been that long, but it's been long enough that I need to see it again.
I took a little sip of water.
That's good.
Flight of the Phoenix. I guess we covered all these before too. This is another one that I think is sort of on the borderline, but I love this movie. Audrey Hepburn in Wait Until Dark with Richard Crenna. This to me is a completely survival movie. For Audrey Hepburn, who plays Susie, recently blinded and still learning how to live in a sighted world, and wrote a psychopathic killer wants a heroin stuffed doll he thinks Susie has, and all Susie wants to do is survive, which would make it a survival film right there. See, if it says survival in there, then you know it's. Yeah, what does everyone think of the new? I was thinking we should have watched that trailer today because the new trailer for there's a new Alien movie coming out. Bridget was saying right. Too. Looking forward to the new Alien movie. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Well, I think one year, a few years ago, we tried to watch all the Alien films, but I think we only made it to the second one.
We did?
Yeah.
I can't remember now.
I just remember that you did for Alien 2, which is called Aliens, right? You did that that Instagram story where he says "Game over, man."
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the last time we watched them, which was years ago now.
There's also this. These films where in like the first one the robot is not good, and then in the second one the robot is good, which I think is true for Alien. I don't want to give it away.
Robot redemption stories.
Yeah, robot redemption. Maybe that's the topic for next week. I don't know that there's a lot of those films, but yeah, let us know too as we go. We usually go for about an hour here too. Someone is asking if we could go a little bit longer, but I don't know if we can.
It depends on.
It depends on everyone here. If you want us to go longer, let us know, and we'll go a little bit longer. We can if there's a lot to talk about. Wait Until Dark. I love this movie. And of course, I love Alan Arkin, but Richard Crenna is great in this movie. And it's a great suspense, thriller, and survival film. I thought it was maybe Bridget can tell it or someone can tell us, but I feel like I didn't think it was a remake of the original Alien, but I could be completely wrong on that. I don't know.
Let's see.
Brent said more suspense than survival, but Midnight Lace is a great film. Doris Day is amazing. I haven't seen that one. That's the thing. You can kind of get into this like suspense area. I guess what I was going to say too is if you have an idea for next week, we're trying to keep the topics kind of contained into, I know there was one week where we went over and we said we're going to do road films another week, but we're trying to kind of keep things contained. But if someone mentions a topic in the chat today, we'll definitely cover that. We have a lot of fun making the thumbnails.
Yeah.
For those.
Yeah, so the new Alien film is coming out in August. It's called Alien Romulus, and it's called an interquel because it bridges the gap between Alien 1 and Alien 2.
Oh, okay. So it's between Alien 1 and Alien 2, which I would like to see. I'd love to see that. Last October, I had the Universal Monster 30 movie set and watched one movie every day night. Wow, that's I love Universal horror. That would be great to see. The monkey said Tim Talkies loves Wait Until Dark more than anyone else. He sings its praises every chance he gets. That's a great film. Next week, psychological horror films. Could that be a topic? I don't know what the thumbnail would look for that. That's the thing. I immediately think, what's the thumbnail going to look like for that? Neo noir. I think film noir would be good.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are both great topics. We might cover them both too, but we'll wait till the end of the stream today and say.
Well, what would be an example? Like, what are some examples?
Yeah, give us an example of a psychological horror film that you would
like a neo noir title you'd want.
Yeah, or a neo noir title, because sometimes again with the categories it gets a little things can cross over, right?
Right.
But both of those sound great. And while we're thinking about that, I'll show another one, which I feel like this is a little bit of this has a survival element to it, and it's one of my favorite Clint Eastwood films. The Eiger Sanction, which this is a beautiful release from Kino Lorber that has a slipcover. And I love this. I'll read a little bit of the back. Identity. Neo-noir would be Chinatown, which is getting a 4K too, by the way. Chinatown's getting a 4K. We only have the DVD. I just don't know that I like Chinatown enough to get to upgrade. I think it's a good movie. I just don't know that I like it enough to do that. And Neo-noir.
It's getting a 4K?
Yeah, Paramount's doing a 4K for that one, which it may already be out. This is a great one. This is a new 2K master for this one with Clint Eastwood. But I love this film, and it's probably one of the first Clint Eastwood films I've seen. But the big part about this is it features some of the most exciting mountain climbing sequences ever captured on film, which is definitely survival near the end. Also, I didn't realize this particular film is the score is done by John Williams, which was interesting.
Do we have time for some?
I know you're thrilled with it.
Adjacent news.
Adjacent news? What? Do we have something?
Because you reminded me of rock climbing, mountain climbing. You remind me of. Do people know about like what's happening on Everest right now?
I think we've only seen TikToks about that, right?
Yeah, like there's lines of people waiting to climb Everest for the first time.
I love those Everest, the documentaries. But
yeah,
I can't believe
every time everybody's like, oh, it's really difficult to climb Everest, and like it's not that many people get to do it or get to attempt it. And now I guess because of social media and everything, there are lines of people waiting to climb the mountain.
Right, to get to the summit. I don't know if
it's dangerous because people are like running out of air and like people are falling down, and it's a problem.
That's definitely survival related.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a different mountain to climb, Eiger Sanction would be good. So what should we do next week? Neo-noir or psychological horror?
We haven't watched Identity together, so it'd be harder to put together a list. Mm-hmm. And I also don't want to I feel like Identity is one specific movie where like there's a twist, and I don't want to like ruin the twist or ruin the film.
Maybe we'll Modesty Blaze said one of my guilty pleasure genres is coming of age films. That's another great one too.
That could be fun.
We're going to keep track of all these too, so maybe we'll pick one of these afterwards. They're all good. So we have neo-noir films so we'll probably cover all of them. Any suggestions in here too? We'll cover all of them at some point. So we have neo-noir, psychological horror, and coming of age films, which might be good. I'm just going to keep going with some of the other others. This was another thing that we wrestled with, I think, last week. But are zombie movies? Could those all be survival movies, or are they zombie films? Zombie films are their own thing. Horror films too. But this is one of our favorite zombie movies, and they're definitely in peril. They're definitely, when a mysterious virus breaks out across the country, the infected turn into the murderous undead. So this is I feel like zombie films in general are a big.
Well, I feel like I picked Train to Busan because like they're also on a train, so like they're trapped on a train during a zombie apocalypse, and things happen. Yeah,
so which is a great film.
It's not just survive the zombies.
If you like zombie films, maybe we've talked about this before. This is a classic, I feel like, and I really, really like it. But could those be considered to be?
But this is also like an emotional zombie film.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Like I've never cried at a zombie film until I watched Train to Busan.
Was I emotional for that?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Was I?
Yeah.
Pretty sure I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my vote right now is for coming of age films because I feel like there's a lot of coming of age films that like take place over like one magical summer. You know what I mean? Like like all of a sudden like they go from like, you know, child to teenager like over a summer or like things happen.
Also, maybe because it's a bit of a lighter topic, because we've talked about survival films, we've talked about heist films, road trip films, and stuff like that. But we'll definitely get to all of them. So how about for next week, if everyone's okay with this, we'll take the Modesty Blaze suggestion of the coming of age films, and we'll do something with that. We could probably have an interesting thumbnail for those films too. We don't really know, but we'll think about it afterwards. But
yeah.
Deep Water, an extraordinary documentary. Razor Wire Reviews is here, by the way. Hello, Razor Wire Reviews. Razor Wire Reviews also love that channel. It's one of the first channels I think that I was watching on YouTube years and years ago, and I highly recommend, if you're not a fan, if you're not subscribed to Razor Wire Reviews, please head on over there and subscribe.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun topic.
Deep Water is I'm going back here. Deep Water is an extraordinary documentary about an amateur sailor who becomes lost at sea during a sailboat race. Narrated by Tilda Swinton. That seems really good too. This is, again, we're getting into sort of a documentary style thing, because that's a whole other, I feel like that's a whole other topic. All Is Lost. We did talk about All Is Lost with Robert Redford, which is a great film. I think surprising. We weren't really sure what to expect with it, but when we saw it, we were like, this is great.
I don't think we've seen it since it like came out on Netflix.
So next week we're going to talk about coming of age films, but we're keeping track of all the topics, and we'll definitely cover those. Maybe we'll cover psychological horror as we get closer to Halloween, and that in the fall. A great survival film would be Mysterious Island. I haven't seen that.
Addams Family Values. I like that one.
Addams Family Values?
Yeah. It was in the monkey mentioned it.
Oh, yeah. Addams Family Values. Oh, yeah, right. Addams Family Values.
I think that's the one with the summer camp. They send the kids to summer camp, and
there's so many different, so anyway, next week will be coming of age films, and we're going to continue to talk about the few survival films we have left. I really love this particular series, and I think this, the other genre that we haven't really gotten into, but it kind of covers this too, is post-apocalyptic films or dystopian films, right?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't cover like what happens after. Like most of it's like this terrible thing has happened, and how do we survive what's happening right now? And it's interesting to see how people survive and then how they thrive after surviving. How they do it.
But we watched this twice now, and I think it's brilliant. I really like this a lot, but it's Station 11 from HBO. This is an HBO series. It's not a film. But I didn't think this was going to get a physical media release, but I highly recommend this as well. It's so good. I'm going to read the back. A post-apocalyptic saga spanning multiple timelines, which is interesting too. This limited drama series tells the stories of survivors of a devastating flu as they attempt to rebuild and reimagine the world anew while holding on to the best of what's been lost. And there's a lot of art. There's a lot of Shakespeare, discussion in this movie as well. I think the actors in this are amazing. I think the direction is great. There's so many great films about this. And I'm just looking, there's 10 episodes of this highly acclaimed series. So if you haven't seen this before, I think you can still get physical media for this too. Station 11. We love this. We watched it twice, and I want to see this again.
Yeah,
I want to watch this again.
Really good. I want to watch it every year.
And I guess going along with that, could this be a survival thing? The Last of Us. We're talking about some of the shows here that could be survival related. The Last of Us this is HBO also, and I love this. I can't wait for season 2. Have they started shooting season 2 yet? I think they have.
It's coming out in 2025.
What a great show this is too, with Please tell me who it is, because I don't
Pedro
remember.
Pascal.
Oh, Pedro. Of course, it's right. It's right on the back here. Bella Ramsey also. But again, these could be their own. This could be its own, topic, right?
Yeah.
Zombie films or post-apocalyptic dystopian films, or so many things, right?
It sounds like you would like Mysterious Island.
Mysterious Island, yeah, that sounds great. Brent, thank you for the great suggestions there too. Last of Us, I agree. Last of Us is fantastic. I can't wait for it. I'm so glad that got released on physical media also. So we've got about.
It looks like Mysterious Island is also on Tubi.
Also on Tubi. I'm glad you're checking that too. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for checking that. Modesty Blaze said, Dog Soldiers. Oops. Dog Soldiers. That's a great 4K, I suppose. Or is that the 4? Was Last of Us on 4K? I'm not really sure.
No, this is a Blu-ray, but there is a 4K.
There is a 4K, yeah. Another survival film, an apocalyptic film, Book of Eli, which I haven't seen.
Oh, that's Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington, yeah. Someone was asking about Denzel Washington.
Dog Soldiers is on Pluto TV.
On Pluto TV. So there's lots of free places where you can see things too. I like to preview things on streaming services if I can, and then if I like the physical, if I think I'm going to watch it over and over again, I'll get the physical media. But one of the things we still do also is I like to watch the 24/7 live stream on the Criterion channel, see if I can guess the film quickly.
Yeah,
it's a little game we play there too. Maybe at some point they'll have a listing of what they're showing there.
Yeah,
because they don't often show that. We've got I'd say we have about 15 minutes left too. We can go a little bit over too if everyone's interested, or if anyone has questions. If we want to talk about something else, we can. Again, next week we'll do coming of age films, and but we're keeping track of all the suggestions we get. If you're watching this on replay too, you can leave a comment and leave a topic or a question. I was saying too, if you have a question that you want me to research or do some work on before the live stream, you can do that. Leave a question for me in the comments of this video, and I'll answer it in the next video. And while we're talking about that, I'll just answer a couple of questions here, and then we'll go back to survival films.
We only have one left. But...
We only have, yeah. Well, we'll go back to survival film. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of others. Streaming for discovery, physical for keeps. I love that.
Yeah.
Streaming for discovery, physical for keeps. Love it.
That's right.
Got to keep. That's a great quote. Unless, of course, your Blu-ray player breaks down, or you lose your DVD player, or something happens with that. I still need to get a backup Blu-ray player.
Like, where did I see it? I just saw it somewhere on social media somewhere. Someone was asking about buying a DVD player.
Yeah.
And I don't remember where it was, but they were like, can I still buy a DVD player? Where? So like people are getting back into owning things. And at the book sale, there was that one gentleman, he bought, I think, like 6 or 7 boxes of physical media.
He was there early.
Yeah. And he
got a lot of stuff. Yeah. We had fun at the book sale though. We found a couple things, there's going to be a new vlog coming out next week, which will show some additional things there. But let me just answer some of these questions. I feel like I need to answer these questions that I got. One of them was, what role do you want to see Denzel play that he hasn't done yet? And my answer to that would be, we really liked him in Fences and also the Macbeth movie. So anything with, maybe he could do more classic films, like more Shakespeare. I think I would like to see him do more Shakespeare.
Or like play adaptations.
Play adaptations, yeah. Someone asked, what is the best crime drama? I don't know if this is the best one, but my favorite one would be Serpico. Also, someone asked, who would you cast as the main character in Monopoly? And I said Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
I could see him, because with the big mustache, the Hercule Poirot, which I can't say. Let's see. I think I got most of those. They also asked, have I seen Remember My Name, which I haven't seen. And I think that's it. They said also what people should play the main roles in the Clue movie, but I think we like the original Clue movie, so I can't think of anyone who could be in that movie. Like I said, 2 films that are overdue for a 4K release: Casper and Addams Family Values.
They're gonna remake Clue.
They're gonna remake Clue.
Yeah.
I like the original one, so
I think because of the Barbie movie and like the I feel like if Rian Johnson did the Clue movie, I'd be okay with that.
Oh yeah.
Well, because he was like Knives Out, so
isn't he busy with the other ones? There's gonna be another one of those, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be another one of those films too. So if you have any other questions, let us know. Again, we've got about 10 minutes. We can always go over to if there's other questions or you want to keep the conversation going, we can certainly do that. But I had some other thing. Oh, we wanted to show The Shallows too. The Shallows also a great, which someone had mentioned last week. Denzel would be amazing in a sword fight movie like Three Musketeers or Zorro. That's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really liked him in Fences. But I mean, he's great in everything. The Shallows with
Blake Lively.
Blake Lively, yeah. There's the back of that one. So I suppose shark movies, like we said, Jaws 1 and 2 are really good.
Yeah.
So I can always watch those. Let us know if you have other survival movies before we wrap up for today. And I was going to talk about something else, another interest of mine. I've been watching a lot of Aki Kaurismäki films. Modesty Blaze said, I have a soft spot for Waterworld that's quite survivally, survival, like Perilous kind of. Right? Yeah, Perilous. I remember seeing the Waterworld show at Universal Studios.
That's the one where the plane comes over.
The plane comes over the thing. It's a whole show. And
they won't tell you how they do it.
They don't say how they do it, but I mean, it's a whole big thing.
So yeah,
you have to make sure you don't sit in the front rows either, because
wasn't it Ordinary Adventures found like the plane in a parking garage one time?
Did they?
I feel like they did.
Maybe.
I feel like they parked in like Universal parking garage or something. They're like, hey, isn't this the plane from the Waterworld show?
Yeah, if you go to if you're ever at Universal Studios, the Waterworld show is pretty good. I think it's still around. The Lady Gaga song instantly comes into my head when I show the show. I'm not sure I remember that one.
Yeah, we'll have to look on.
We'll have to look. Let's see. Surviving the Game, starring Ice-T. Yes, great. Again, thanks to everyone too for the great, for the suggestions in the chat today too. So I was talking about I'm watching a lot, as many Aki Kaurismäki films as I can find. I've been watching those on the Criterion Channel, but last week I had a little bit of a detour.
Yeah.
And I was watching an Elaine May interview, which is on the TCM YouTube channel. And of course, I love Mike Nichols and Elaine May, who worked as a comedy team together as Nichols and May. And so I got all involved in that. As you know,
yeah,
my special interest went into the Nichols and May thing. So I started watching a lot of interviews with Mike Nichols and Elaine May. And then I ended up watching a documentary, which is on HBO, and I have a digital copy of it, called Becoming Mike Nichols, which, if you're a fan of Mike Nichols, highly recommend seeing that. If you have Max, it's on there, but you can also get a digital copy of it. But it's a great, it's about an hour, a little bit over an hour interview with Mike Nichols about some of his early films, how he worked with Neil Simon. There's lots of clips of Nichols and May, the comedy improv team that were very successful. And so I really got all into that. And now I'm very interested in it.
Yeah.
Along with the Kaurismäki stuff, which because you watch a lot of you're seeing everything I'm seeing at night when I'm watching these things. And so I watched an hour-long interview with Nichols and May, which you can find these on YouTube if you just search it. And I just love hearing them talk together about films and the studio process. If you want to know about Hollywood, making films in Hollywood, there's great discussions out there on that. But there's also this one too, which I have a physical copy, which is a film from Elaine May, Mike Nichols, which is what is this? American Masters, which is also good. I think Becoming Mike Nichols is a better one, but this is good too, and it's of course done by Elaine May. But then I started watching. Of course, I love Mike Nichols' early films, but his later films are great too. But I just brought a couple today to talk about. Of course, this is a classic from Warner Archive, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, who were together at the time when they made this movie. But this is great if you haven't seen it, based on the Edward Albee play. and there's some special features on this. Anytime I have a chance to listen to Mike Nichols talk, this has a commentary by directors Mike Nichols and Steven Soderbergh. And so some extra features on this Warner Archive release. But it's really great, and I would like to rewatch it. Last night I was watching Carnal Knowledge with Jack Nicholson and Anne Margaret, who gives an amazing performance in that. And who else was in that? Art Garfunkel and Candice Bergen is in that. And what an amazing film that is. I mentioned to you, I hadn't seen that movie probably since it was on television when I saw it, or I rented it. But it must have been the early 80s probably when I rented that. And I haven't seen that since the early 1980s. And it was a brilliantly done film. Yeah. So well done. He does a thing, Mike Nichols does a thing too, where he will have characters. You'll hear some dialogue in the background, but then he'll focus in on like Anne Margaret's face. And you just hear the thing and you can just see the emotion in her face. Or you can see like there's a couple of characters that are sitting on a bench, Anne Margaret being one of them. And there's dialogue or there's a tennis match going on. And then you can see the emotion in her face. I love those films. I love what he does with those films. And I think he does that a couple different times. And then I realized I can't get a copy of Carnal Knowledge because it's not available really on DVD unless you go to eBay.
Oh boy.
So that's a tough one. Modesty Blaze said we still need more Warner Archive here. We have such a small section. Yeah, I love Warner Archive. I think it's great. The monkey was saying they featured a Lady Gaga song in a Doctor Who episode.
That's cool.
Which I haven't seen. That's another thing. I haven't really gotten into Doctor Who. I saw the earlier seasons of Doctor Who, and then I lost touch with it.
I think we tried a little bit, but it seemed like it was going to be a lot to get into.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, so that's leading me out of Aki Kaurismäki a little bit into this diversion that I have with Mike Nichols and Elaine May. And Elaine May is still around, and I think she was great. She's in her 90s, I think, and there's a really good interview again on the TCM YouTube channel with Elaine May, which I love to learn all these things and how they made films. And Elaine May, of course, Mike Nichols, I feel like had a more popular career than Elaine May did. Elaine May did Ishtar. Elaine May did this film, which I think is a brilliant film, but a lot of issues with this film. If you don't have I highly recommend, since the Criterion sale is coming up, that if you have a chance to pick up this movie, I highly recommend. Of course, Peter Falk's in it, John Cassavetes, and how they made this film, how it got released, all the controversy with it, is just amazing. And of course, she talks about this other movie, New Leaf, with Walter Matthau, and what a difficult time that was to make that movie when she was kind of a first-time director learning about film. She talks about filming for a couple of weeks, I think, and then realizing she didn't understand the idea of coverage when you're making a film. So she didn't have any other angles that she could show when she went to edit the movie.
Oh, right. And then they had like a young, inexperienced editor.
There was a young, inexperienced editor. So she was learning all this thing. But it's interesting to find out, too, that what happens with filmmakers, but people in general, when they're learning something, it's a very inspirational process, because you're sort of learning on the fly, but you're taking chances that you might not take as maybe a more experienced filmmaker. And so I thought that was interesting too, for anyone that wants to start out and making a film or working on things, which now seems like a perfect time to do that. Take a chance. And because I think New Leaf is great too, which is again, very difficult to get on DVD or Blu-ray, but
yeah.
Modesty Blaze said, talking to Mike Nichols, have you seen The Fortune? I probably would love that, but I haven't seen it. Jack Nicholson and Warren Beatty and The Woman from Greece, which I don't. Oh, maybe I have seen that movie, The Fortune. I can't remember it, but it does sound familiar. Those two.
It's like a 1920s film.
Maybe I don't think so though. If I have seen it, I haven't seen it in a long time. But so that's my current special interest right now is Mike Nichols and Elaine May, and so I'm going to be watching as many of those as I can. I think there's a commentary on the version of Catch-22 that Mike Nichols did, which we haven't seen, but we read the book last year, and so I feel like I'd like to see that because we haven't seen it, and we watched.
It's an Alan Arkin film.
That's an Alan Arkin film, right? So that should be good. Let us know if you have any final questions too, and we're kind of wrapping up here a little bit, but this has been some great discussion, great chat. So I feel like I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Mike Nichols in the future, or at least rewatching things that I haven't seen before. I forgot to show The Graduate too, which is a lot of great stories about The Graduate, which is a great one. If you're into Mike Nichols and you haven't seen this movie, The Graduate, what a brilliant film this is, talking about working with Simon and Garfunkel, coming up with the Mike Nichols was talking about in the documentary that I saw how well The Sound of Silence matched up with a certain sequence that Dustin Hoffman was in, which is brilliant, which happened by chance. A lot of these things happen by chance. There's also on this release a 1970 appearance by singer-songwriter Paul Simon on the Dick Cavett Show, which is cool. Lots of extra stuff, working, with Buck Henry and everything. So this is great if you haven't seen that. Brent, have you seen that? Have you seen that movie, Hitman? I this is on my list. If you follow me on Letterboxd, by the way, I'm keeping a list of movies that I'm interested in seeing. That one's definitely on the list. But I haven't seen it yet, but I'm interested in seeing. I love Richard Linklater, so it'd be great to see that. But I'm not sure I want to get Netflix again just for that.
We'll have to make like a list of.
We have to have a list of things we should see. Yeah. Hall & Oates is here, by the way. Happy Saturday. We're just about to wrap it up. Modesty Blaze, thanks for the topic for next week. Modesty Blaze came up with the topic for next week. Even though we love all the topics we got, we're gonna cover coming of age films next week. So come next week with your favorite coming of age movie. We'll collect those up. But if you have a suggestion, you're watching this on replay, leave us a question, leave us a comment, leave us a topic that we can talk about.
Yeah.
Hall & Oates is here, and again, we're just maybe another couple minutes here. These live streams again will be on Saturdays. We've been trying to do as many as we can on Saturday at 1:00 Eastern time, and we're just wrapping it up with some discussion about Mike Nichols. And again, with the Criterion sale coming up, have a nice evening, Modesty Blaze, and everyone. The Graduate. Anything else we want to say today? Can you think of anything else?
I don't think so. Do we have any news or anything?
The only news I was thinking of is the HBO, the increase in the price for HBO, which is going up $1, I think, in July. So,
oh yeah,
which I think we're still going to do, but that's it. I think for this week we had a good time.
Yeah,
I had a good time. Thanks to everyone who joined us today for the live stream. We really appreciate it. I love all the comments and suggestions in the chat. We always appreciate that. I appreciate I want to thank everyone really for watching videos on this channel and coming to these live streams and leaving a comment, asking a question. It really means a lot. We have so much fun doing these, and hopefully many more. So we'll be back next Saturday at 1:00 Eastern time, and we'll talk about coming of age films. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the weekend, and we'll talk to everyone very soon. Thanks, everybody.